either lager, either salt, either lager, oh that's either salt, either lager, thurs, either salt, either lager, kun, either salt, either lager, mother, either salt, either lager, or either salt, either lager, either salt, either lager, oh that's either salt, either lager, thurs, either salt, either. I love it. It's very analog, isn't it? That voice. It's very. It's like a 10-minute warning before the apocalypse or something.
True.
How are you all?
We're
Excellent.
great. Thank you. We are dialing in from München in Germany, where we're going to perform tonight. So we're in the middle of our tour.
That's exciting. Yeah, we're beyond excited to see you in a very short time, like because we hadn't seen you at all, and then we seen you last year, I believe, and then it's like I think March around last year, our time, and then back again. So it come around really quickly. I think we had to kind of pinch ourselves really to believe it.
Yeah, we're very, very grateful to be invited back so soon. We had an amazing time meeting all the beautiful listeners in Australia. We feel very connected and they get us and what we do, and that's a wonderful feeling to feel so welcome.
Yeah, because I think it was only was it 2 shows I think last time. I mean, I know you've done a lot of gigs in between. I know that's a big jump to kind of just off the top of your memory to remember that.
Yeah, no, we did 1 in Sydney and 2 in Melbourne, right? Yes. Yeah.
Ah, cool.
Goldfish memory here.
That's right, you can't. So yeah, we're super excited. I'm based in Melbourne, so very, very excited to see you again. It was a fantastic evening, just like very memorable. So my first question, go for the hard questions first. I think for the audience, we get so much out of it, but from your end, what do you get out of it? Like each performance and just personally, collectively, what do you get out of this? Like it's not, we know the experience. I think the experience, I have to say, as a fan, is amazingly special and just, I think it blew a lot of people's minds, from metal fans, alternative fans. People were talking for so long afterwards, but what do you guys get out of it?
It's a cool question. Let's do a round on it.
I think, of course, when we perform, there's a lot of things like that are habit that are always the same for us, and they have to be the same for us in order to get us in the mindset and everything. But at the same time, every performance, every ritual is different, of course, because we have like several thousand individuals in front of us, and everyone brings his or her own personal experience, perception, and so on. But what I enjoy a lot is outside the performance, outside the ritual, all the different countries where we're seeing the different cities, the different nature, the different flora, the different fauna, like as Chris said in another interview recently with an Australian interviewer, like the bird life in Australia is absolutely amazing. And like I personally went to Australia a couple of weeks before our performances, and we took a travel from quite northeast in Australia down the coast, and the rainforest, the beaches, and the birds. Every time the birds, I mean, like I always travel with a Zoom recorder, and I recorded so many birds there. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Of course, for you guys, that's quite normal. You would be probably equally exciting when you come to Europe. Wow, the birds sound completely different, man. What are they doing in the morning here? Oh my God. And that is what I enjoy a lot. And the soil, I mean, like what the fuck is going on with your soil there, man? The color is crazy. Wow.
Oh, it's once a very long time ago. Me and my wife, we got I think it's like one of the biggest bus rides in the world, because the flights were so expensive. We had a family member, her brother lived in Perth, which is, I think it's one of the biggest trips you can make. It's like a 2-day bus trip to get to the other side of Australia. And then we went through Adelaide and that, and the same thing. Like you see these pictures of this red soil and that, and we're on this bus and we were just like, we've seen images of this as a child and in movies, and we're on this bus going, like, what? Like how it changes from, one side of a big country to the other. We're obviously a big country with, not so many cities in the middle, but yeah, exactly. It's mind blowing. So yeah, we're in,
Wow.
we're not an old country. Well, we are in terms of, our ancestors and everything, but like, yeah, civilization here, but yeah, it's just blows your mind really. So
Yeah. Yeah, and that's absolutely also what I feel is in it for me, is feeling the essence of every place that we're visiting. It has a different atmosphere. There's something about the culture, the way the audience is reacting. Are they loud and free in their expression, or are they more hiding a bit their emotions? But in the end of the ritual, we always see the same reaction, which is also what is so beautiful and binds us together as people. And that is when you drive someone far enough in the trance beat for long enough, at the end, you will start jumping and screaming. That is just how we feel it deep inside. And that's beautiful to see. And you, Chris?
Yeah, I think like you won't hear Heilung ever saying we're here to take, because our purpose is also to give, and it's I guess it's a measure that it is probably equal value. And because you also have to remember, when the 3 or 4 or 5,000 of you stand in the room and look to the stage, there will also be a tribe looking the other way at you, right? And that is because everyone in the room is together making that night happen. Everyone is performing together, and that energy that is created in the room is the performance. That is why you will, when you come to a Heilung ritual, you will both be able to, of course, hear and see and feel and smell and even touch places. And that is something we do together.
And is it, like, I mean, it's got like a ritual or a performance has many kind of purposes. Is it, what are some of the main, is it cathartic for you, or is it where does it, I mean, one example I will get, I'll think of is, the band Amun-Ra from Belgium. It's, for me, I love that band, and I seen that performance and I was emotional throughout it, and it was cathartic. And also, the lead singer, I've interviewed him and spoken to him as well. It's really a lot of different emotions. So, like that band, it's a bit cathartic as well. I suppose it depends what's going on for the individual. It's a very complex question, or situation, really.
Yeah, but it's always a sense of release, because we are building up the ritual in a very, very conscious way of altering the state of your mind. From you come in maybe stressed to kind of heartbeats being lowered, and we start out pretty intensive with Kai's scream, and then it goes from there through a lot of human emotions, and with the sole purpose of leaving you in a better place, a better state of mind when you leave than you had when you entered the room. And that, of course, also goes for all of us. I can have been tired all day, but then setting foot on stage, joining hands with my my tribe mates, my bandmates, my fellow humans, is linking us in this wonderful performance, and I always feel so rejuvenated and so awake when I step off.
Yeah, there's a lot of different levels, isn't there? Really, in there. I don't know where that little hand come up. That was bizarre.
It
It's
happens
when you do like this,
sometimes.
it will do it.
Always. It's so random.
That was very random. I've never seen that in any interview ever. I was like, is that a secret button? Like, yeah.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. I have no idea why.
Yeah, no, that's, I suppose it depends what's going on for each people, like what's yeah, how they're going to get out of it, because it's kind of it's meditative. It's, you know, there's so many different kind of levels from it, I suppose, what's going on for each kind of individual. So it's you know, are you exhausted by the end of the performance? Because it's, I mean, not only you're the core of the group, but then there's obviously a lot of people on stage, and, you know, the choir and everything, and the throat singing, and the from the harmonies to the death metal kind of, even, you know, like, are you exhausted by the end of it? I mean, I know you said you're energized by the end of it, but
I am, but it varies a lot. Some days I'm completely drained, and other days I'm full up. What about you guys?
Well, I genuinely have to say some of the craziest parties in my life I have seen after one of our rituals. People are fucking out of their mind, and but it is true, as Maria just said it. It's not always that people go completely bananas after the performance. There's also days when we just retreat in the bus and everything is quiet at midnight, more or a little bit later. But yeah, it's different.
But it is high energy what is happening. One thing that is for sure is that we will never play back to back like 2 days in a row, because the day after everyone needs rest, right? Because it is a very, very big production. But what we essentially are is a theater production, full-on theater production on the road with a 30 people crew. In order, like a normal theater production, even though you won't see acting on stage. We, of course, there with our real intentions, but what you will see is that a normal theater production will take a week to put up, at least, right? And we have figured out a way with our amazing crew and everyone helping. Everyone does multiple things to put it up in one day and pack it down at night, right? And go on. But that also is draining energy-wise to do. So that means that when the night is over, everyone needs rest. Also, is important for us, as we were talking a little bit about before, is we need to also recharge, and often that happens in nature or in the surroundings we are in. So you don't see a country only from the parking lot behind the venue, but you actually get to experience the place for real, and meet people there, and to connect with where we are. And therefore we will never play 2 days in a row. We will always have at least one resting day, sometimes more.
Yeah, no, that's a good, yeah, no, that makes sense. And it was also another question I had. Do you try and connect to nature in between as well? Because that's obviously you know, obviously the ethos of the band is that connection to earth and nature. So it sounds like you have connected where you've been, you know, in various tours. So you try and balance yourself out by getting to nature as well in between.
Yeah, very much. It's super important for all of us, I think. Yeah,
I think so too. Like, especially, I mean, like as Chris said before, like a lot of our sounds are based on nature sounds, or are nature sounds, and like I work with the shamanism a lot, and of course that is where the energy is coming from. Like in the very, very old languages, there is not even a different word for human and nature, right? And to get back into that mindset, to like switch off the phone, to like, yeah, have literally your naked feet on the ground, that is for all of us, and for me as well, very, very important, you know.
I think I think it's really staggering because I think for the people that didn't know your band so well, when they went there and they were looking for the modern instruments, I think for to have such acclaim and such connection with music fans, when obviously there's very traditional instruments and all those kind of things, it's very different. You know, I think there's a lot of aspects where people are like, wow, this is mind blowing, but like, no, there's no guitar, there's no bass. There's like, hang on a minute, like, but it's so powerful. Like that's and I know it's very steeped in history, and you've got a very, you know that history very well. So it's
Like that brings me back to one of my absolute favorite comments that I read about our first album. So of course we're listed with Season of Mist that have a lot of like black metal, death metal, and there was that one guy, I don't remember his name. He wrote the review about our album, and he started out with, "This is the biggest crap I ever heard in my life. The whole album sounds like a never-ending intro to a really nice black metal album, and these guys don't even have a guitar. What the fuck?"
subtle, very subtle.
But I guess we are a very big intro. I mean, we are literally from before it happened, I guess. Yeah, so, it's an intro to black metal for sure. I mean, thousands of years of intro.
That guy was so disappointed,
Yeah.
all his expectations were just crushed, and he couldn't handle it at all. Like he gave us 1 star out of
It's like
10.
waiting at the beginning.
There's the fun again. See,
It's on my face also. I like that. I mean, what we do play with here is, of course, also Kai mentioned before. We also mentioned this in other interviews, and that is that we start very often sonically with nature sounds and something that connects it to the source material that Kai brings to the table when we create, right? And the way we can do that is, of course, a lot through our voices with different sounds, but there's also instruments that was maybe purposefully invented to mimic nature also, right? And they have a tendency to work really well together. But then we also play with stuff that everyone can relate to, right? The purpose of what we're doing is of course, to connect and do healing and all that. And one of the things we did when we started out making our shows or rituals is still pretty much visible in the performance to this day, and can also be seen on our first Leafer performance, and that is the color spectrum of the show begins in the morning. So the light is the what you will see like light-wise is soft green tones. You're waking up maybe in a forest situation, and then you will see throughout the performance how that changes through different themes, of course, and it will end at night in a very big party where we will dance with the audience and everything, and then it ends with a red sun going up again, right? So you have been through a whole cycle, and I believe stuff like that, and as well, of course, nature sounds and other elements that we're bringing that can connect us. We can all agree, unless you of course live on the North Pole or South Pole, everyone can agree that the sun will rise and fall, right? And stuff like that we can play with, and even though that is maybe not as directly visible, the very fact that we can hint at it will connect everyone together. We also do stuff such as playing with the human heartbeat. You will have a very big physicality in the sound you will hear from us live, and playing with the same tempo as everyone's heartbeat have a proven, we have tried this hundreds of times now, have a proven way of uniting everyone in the room into one beat. And I think these subtleties that we're playing with, and of course a lot of more intention also, you can hear from Kai, is something that can connect us even without a guitar, and that is what we're doing.
I think that's really interesting about the heartbeat thing. I mean, there's a lot of work about research, even about electronic music, where it connects to that, and how people are in sync to it and how they relate to it, and then down tempo music and higher tempo music. I think that's amazing, and I think anyway, getting back to your earlier point about the writer crucifying you. I mean, I think anyway, it's like, I think it's more coherent and bombastic, the music anyway, than some of the very shitty black metal that we all know at the beginning. Like, So the kind of, doesn't kind of really go anywhere, and the production is so terrible anyway. Like it's more about mood and atmosphere, like I think it's connecting to people, then they're, the different emotions, like you said, the different seasons. So I think you probably achieve more. So it's not, but it's not about winning people over, obviously. That's not the
I love haters.
what's that?
I love haters. It's my favorite.
Yeah. It's
We
way more
actually-
interesting, isn't it?
We well, our social media worker asked an AI to really like
roast us,
roast us in a review, and that was hilarious. I loved it.
I haven't. Yeah, I heard a lot of people do that. It's like, or you can even give a critique of your band or your blog, and it like hammers you. Like, yep, you should do this. So it's really poor. Like, that's the robotic critic. It's it's an intriguing. And now, do you have some memorable kind of experiences in nature that you've transferred over to the band?
I think that
That's
counts for me a lot, because
Yeah.
like there's a lot of moments in nature that I experience in my personal work. Also, especially when I'm alone, and I think the song Asha, for example, is the song Asha is a good example here, because that was during a time when I retreated for a whole month on my own outside in a small cabin on the Danish coast in the winter, and I didn't eat a lot. Like I went to like absolute basic minimal food, like fasting, and that brings you in a very special mindset, right? So you like your blood sugar level drops really bad, really quick, right? And you feel really sick physically, but at the same time, what happens in your mind is, of course, all the blood is not used for digestion, and you're in some kind of semi-trance for weeks. And there was one point, I always have my diary beside. There was one point when I woke up in the morning, and there was a couple of lines written in my diary where I have no recollection that I put it down, and I brought that to the table when we were making that song, and it turned out to be quite interesting. And we perform it now. We will also perform it in Australia, I think.
Yes, for sure.
Excellent. Yeah. So it's a source of inspiration and on different levels, really. So yeah, whether you're taking kind of a break or a circuit breaker. I mean, I know myself, we have even in Victoria, we have redwood forests down the coast. And even from my family, I like to go down there, not quite for a month. That would be my dream. But yeah, even for like a week or so, there's big some of the biggest forests in Australia, big redwoods and stuff. And yeah, it's a very spiritual place, and it resets the mind, So and you can read books, or you can write lyrics, or all sorts of things. So that's super important. What about you guys? Any particular kind of things from nature that really stand out that cross over?
A few years back, we did a recording in Iceland, 1 kilometer underground, where we were able to play on these ice stalactites.
Ancient ice, yeah.
And in a completely dark room, but they lit up the things, and they take hundreds of years for nature to create, right?
Wow.
And the cave was like dripping down, and each time it dripped down, it made a tone, and everything was just reverberating down in this environment. It was very difficult to get there. It took quite a climb to get there. But this thing about feeling powerless, we also, like I know Kai, for instance, have recorded on top of a volcano that later erupted, but this type of feeling of being completely immersed in nature, and there's nothing you can do if it collapses, or if nature chooses to end this place, including you, right? And then just dive into the sounds or the spirit or the feeling it provides for you. I find as the ultimate inspiration, right? That is where you can go down to, I guess, hell and touch, you know, the very strings of what we are made out of, and yeah, that is something that is important to do when you play with nature, you know, because you won't find it in a music shop, right? Yes, you can buy a little rattle that looks like a dog or something, but it won't be nature, right?
I think like Heilung is working in two ways, where one is being inside nature and feel inspired by awe-striking vistas or beautiful waterfalls or just a quiet lake, or, you know, there's so much to take from. But we also like to bring nature into our sound studios in shapes of, bones, stones, leaves, wood, fire. Like, try to use the elements, and Chris has an amazing technique of twisting these sounds, playing them backwards. We had a lovely session with seagulls. When you play them backwards and slow it down, it sounds like a prehistoric. It's so cool.
Wow.
Very, and then we try to mimic it to also record us being seagulls. That was maybe the and we laughed the most in the studio. But yeah, so there's tons of inspiration every day.
Yeah. And do you still in your performance, I mean, I don't know if you bring it to Australia, you bring in the human bones as well. That's still part of, you know, I know people love to focus on the drama about that, you know, sometimes, but more in terms of, you know, you're bringing it there, and also that my question is how you honor those bones as well, you know, because obviously, yeah.
Human bones don't travel outside of Denmark, sadly, because there's many restrictions. But when we are in Denmark and working with them, Kai can tell a bit how.
Yeah, of course, whenever we work with stuff like that, that it's really important to point out. Denmark has special regulations. In Denmark, you are by law actually allowed to possess human remains, which is not the case in many other countries. That is the reasons why they clearly stay at home. So when you see us performing with bones on stage, that are always animal bones from endangered species. And when we work with human bones, that's always done with the uttermost respect and a lot of ceremonial approach, especially when I receive them. So we don't just take them and bang on them, right? So there's a lot of respect, and that is also absolutely important, because like I personally, now being a professional musician, I would love the thought that someone uses my bones at some point to make like awesome music. But I would also like to think like that is done with care, that they're always stored properly, you know, that they're treated with respect.
Yeah, no, that's great. I was going to say, when you're away, because you're doing quite a bit of touring, what do you, when you're, say, touring in different countries or across, what do you kind of miss from home? And then what's the kind of first things that you want to do when you get back home? I know it sounds like a boring question, but it's what do you miss from home when you travel? Because you've obviously got that connection to, you know, where you live.
Our dog.
Yes, Luna.
We have a poodle. Poodle makes, she's adorable. She's our best friend. I can't, like, that is like first.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Good internet.
Good internet.
Denmark is so amazing with internet. I mean, you can sit in the train and you can do your bank transfers. The moment you cross the border to Germany, it's like France is even worse. You know, like I always say that Germany is a developing country and it develops backwards.
you obviously haven't tried our internet. Our internet is like, we are so far behind. Like, just we talk to people in Europe or America, and they're like, "What? Was that a speed 15 years ago?" Like, it's very bad here. Like,
Why do you say that? Because we've had issues in every single interview so far from Australia.
yeah, we kind of cross the fingers and everything else to like, there's not going to be, if we have outages. I mean, we have like, broadband and stuff, but sometimes, the speeds are shit, or like the speed on your phone is all right, but not on your computer that's connected up. But hey, that's technology.
For us, regarding home, I mean, I guess also, home is something you can bring with you a little bit. It's a state of mind also, right? And performing with this tribe for me is very much like home, right? And we create a home every time we start the ritual together, right? And that carries us further, of course, right? But I also really miss my.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She is Luna the tour. Sometimes she comes with us, but not on this tour.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in a band, and that's what I've got 2 dogs at home, and I would, no disrespect to my wife or son, but like my 2 dogs, I'd struggle with that. So even to go from Australia to Japan, I wanted to touch on the kind of intersection of art and music, and particularly, I think, Kai, because you've got a background in art and tattoos. Not to say I don't know about the other kind of history of artist-wise from you guys, but that intersection, do you feel the band has really fulfilled that kind of intersection for you? Because it's obviously, I mean, it's not, and I love that earlier on you touched on that it's like the performance is like a theater production, but it's not theatrical. I had to jump back to that because I thought that was a great point. Because yeah.
I mean, like we said it before that Heilung is more or less a very logical development of all the stuff that we do. Of course, like I come from a background of tattooing, but also animism and shamanism. And when it comes to Heilung merchandise, Heilung album artwork, that all comes from me originally. Like it comes out of me, and then of course it's being passed on to Chris and also Maria, and they do a lot of layout work and everything, but everything starting from the font to any texture that's all done internally. And like Heilung literally serves all senses. You can hear it, you can feel it, you can smell it. It touches you. Like the moment you're seeing us live, the bass is so strong that you can actually feel it. And so it's not just, okay, we're going out there and doing some amazing sound. It's not just going out there performing something, especially the warrior choir. They're all trained into going into some kind of semi-trance. And that is also like what I think what people feel when they see us. They feel that this is not play pretend. This is not whatever they're out there for the fame and the money and the bitches and everything. This is it comes straight from the heart, straight from the soul, and it uses all the skills that we picked up during our life. You have a background in or organization of like event management and all that kind of stuff. And yeah,
you need to harness everything, like you said, because there's so many people involved. And I even recently seen a video of, because last week we had Iron Maiden played in our country, and I watched the video of the behind the stage of what goes on and that, and it blew my mind. I had no idea about this, and that's different people come on and that, but you've got so many people on stage, and it's particularly as it moves along, it's like that. I suppose that main part where everybody's kind of, I don't know what particular part it is, but I remember I loved it where you know, so many people were singing from that choir, and it was really intense, and you were like, wow, that person's got a, you know, this powerful voice and that, and it's all interconnected. It's, yeah. It's hard to imagine how you, conceptually, how you would get there.
Yeah.
A lot of work.
Organic process.
So everyone that traveled with us, I think, you know, it's important to point out that even though we are a big group, we could have been way bigger in terms of how many is traveling, but we are also trying as much as possible to condense it as much as possible to avoid having like 50 trucks and 50 nightliners and such, right? Try to make it reasonable. You won't find any of us sleeping in a fancy Starbucks where we have our own apartment, each of us, and all that, right? We are all sleeping in a bunk each. We are all equal in how we travel on the road. And one of the ways we can condense the amount of people traveling is that everyone, including the singers or the musicians or the warriors and even ourselves, have multiple purposes within the group, right? And we all carry each and everyone equal in terms to do that. And we have to do that. We have to find ways to travel more responsible. We are also trying to counter a little bit our impact on the negative side by doing rewilding initiatives. We try to plant trees, protect areas, and also work with local indigenous populations to save their land and removing plastic from the seas. And you know, we're not in any plus on the emission side of things, but we are at least trying, right? And I think, you know, knowing that we play on the biggest festivals, of course, and we also play on big stages and all that, and that is a plea I would really say to all of our colleagues around the planet. Don't demand the festival to put up 20 cars that a diesel engine is on and ready to drive, right? You know, maybe at least have them shot while you play, right? Stuff like that. You don't need 14 nightliners where one of them is only for laundry. You can source that locally, right? And so on, right? So big production, yes, that is important. We need to go out and do something for people. We are bringing a very big production, of course, to Australia, but there is ways to do it that is less harmful for the planet.
Yeah. Mark, can I just quickly ask, do you have many questions left on your list?
I'm not, no, because I know you've got to play, so I don't want to. I'm nearly done because I know you're going to play tonight. So yeah.
Yeah, there's a busy schedule ahead, but of course we would like to take the time that you.
Because we have multiple purposes, we also need to work.
Yeah. No. I know.
I need to settle the carbon situation to Australia. Actually, that's next on my list.
I have 10 players waiting for me, and I know exactly what they're doing when I'm not there. Nothing.
And that's the best thing I like about any band, and honesty. Honesty is like, yeah. No, it's funny what you touched on. I haven't got too many more questions, but even Massive Attack, I don't know if you heard, they did that. They played in Bristol, and it was the greenest festival it's ever run. Like, they didn't have buses in between, and they had all these initiatives, and it was run by, it wasn't like using normal fuel and all those kind of things. And they basically said, we can do it this way. And that was a big, like an all-day event. So, you know, there is ways to kind of counteract some of that stuff. So it's fantastic. It's fantastic that you're conscious of that. Do you have any, before you go on stage, is there any pre-show rituals that you do or setup that you do to get you into that mode? Like before you go on, as a, behind the stage or...
Behind the stage, there's not much happening. Like the ritual that we do to all get in one mindset, to all feel connected to each other, we do that on stage.
Yeah.
At that time, there's not all the microphones are active, but when you see us coming, the moment the curtain is lifting, there's a lot of stuff that is like very subtle, very quiet, and we all come in, and there's a incense being done cleansing, and we recite something that, of course, like the audience knows it by now, and a lot of them join in. But that is like the first 10 minutes, so to say. That is our time, and we literally don't care what the audience is doing at that point. You know, we really take that time to connect, to hold hands, to feel each other, to like get into that mindset that we're all one living organism, and then we go.
Yeah, so what you see happen on stage is what normally would happen behind stage, but we show it to you.
Yeah. I can see, yeah, when I think about the show that I've seen, yeah, I can see how that it builds into it, you know, how it comes in and all that connection. And it's like and then there's kind of almost the greeting, the welcoming to the audience as well. And then that's, you know, the way that it, yeah, kind of unfolds, which is really incredible. So, yeah, we're very pleased to see it come back again. And what's on the cards for the rest of the year? Like, you're obviously coming here in November, but or even into next year. What's coming up? Because it's is it 3 albums now?
Yes. Yeah, and
That's good. I worried then.
the live album, and yeah, and then we have the rest of our European tour, which also stretches into the UK, and Ireland is coming up in March. So we have a little break in January and February, and then we have the rest of the Europe tour, and then there's summer festivals. And yeah, then there's a little moving of a certain studio that might take a little bit of our time. Let's see how it goes.
Excellent.
But yeah, we will release some more news about the writing and everything in a little while. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in that. It's on its way. Something.
Yeah.
Something.
There's something,
There's
that's
something
for
big
sure.
coming. Yes.
Yeah. That's great. Thank you so much for your time. Sorry about my big sea of questions, but I always try to ask questions that are more interesting and that I want to know rather than you know, generic questions, because I think they're quite terrible. So yeah, because I really love and respect your band and what you've done so far. I think it's really mind-blowing, and we're really looking forward to November. I think it'll be sensational. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it, and love your work.
Thank you so
Be
much.
well, and we'll see you in November.
Yes, see you
November.
there.
And have a great show tonight.
Thank you.
Fantastic. All right, we'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Thanks again.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank
Kulturni tašal kila siliš